Here's the next interesting point. I like this slide just to imprint in your minds, you are what you eat. The minute the food goes in here, travels all around the body. Goes into your fingertips, goes up to the brain. So you are what you eat. You know, you eat something, a couple hours later, it's literally digesting into this area as it is into here. So if you're eating things if you're making a stupid choice of food, then you're going to have something stupid ingested into your brain matter. And there was a study when I was a kid that said children that eat a proper diet focus better in school. And children that eat junk food have a hard time and often get called attention deficit. So my point to you is begin to make a decision to upgrade your diet every single day. I mean, do it little by little, but do it. Here we have one of the most brilliant scholars of our time, Albert Einstein. And he said, if the human race is to survive, we need to adapt to a vegetarian diet. He was the most famous celebrity of the 20th century. We didn't take note. Now, moving on to our most famous celebrity of this century. Hey Paris, I love you. But one of the quotes has been, every woman should have 4 pets in her life. A mink in the closet, a jaguar in the garage, a tiger in the bed, and a jackass to pay for it all. It kind of represents what modern day culture has become like. So the key for us to start looking at is, where was the wisdom? We had a lot of wise men and a lot of scholars and philosophers, but for some reason they're getting lost with today's modern culture of Xbox and all that. And we really got to figure out how to get back to what is exciting in the intelligence. You've got great men about Edgar Casey channeling Atlantis. We have Mahatma Gandhi. This is actually a picture of Ben Kingsley. We try to find you one of Gandhi too. We had Martin Luther King. See, these great men and women, Mother Teresa, healing people by just hugging them. Probably the greatest Reiki master ever. Nelson Mandela, the man of forgiveness, locked up for 30 years, came out and forgave the people who locked him up. Nikola Tesla, the man who invented free electricity for the entire world, built a tower that could transmit electricity for free. They shut him down because they couldn't meter it. Socrates, the man who would ask questions in the courtyard, lived homeless, just had a courtyard of students that admired him and brought him food each day because he was wise. He simply chose to ask questions, and they actually killed him for asking too many questions. They said he was corrupting the youth. We are a being full of all the different chakras. We have 7 chakras, maybe even more, but the ones that we know of are the crown, the mind with the 3rd eye, the throat chakra, our communication, our heartfelt centers, our solar plexus, our health, our sexual chakra, and our pelvic floor, our grounding. If we knock out one of these systems, it tends to start having a knock-on effect of making the other parts of us unhealthy. Currently, most people are using communication and the mind in this world, the Western world anyway, and not necessarily always truly connecting to their higher source of God. Some people are getting heartbroken and their heart shutting off, and then they're getting uninspired to go and work out, so they're unhealthy. Then they don't feel very sexy because they're not healthy. Or if you have shame over sexuality, we're all sexual beings. Sexuality is what creates life. And yet, for some reason, we taint sexuality like it's something dirty. That's why I'm kind of free and wild, and I have all my sexy data out there as well. It's because I feel free to be a sexual being. Sexuality is what created me in the first place. It's what created you. But once we knock one of these things out by shame, and we then stop working out, we don't get motivated, then we get heartbroken, and then we start communicating vile, we can see how the whole dynamic can become out of whack. The idea is to get them all turning and honor them all. The Egyptian culture, if we look at that Egyptian culture, they looked like they honored them all. They honored the sun. The nose was cut off of the Sphinx by Napoleon because the nose represented an African-American shape, or an African shape, an Egyptian shape, a black shape. And Napoleon didn't want that to be a part of this great civilization that seemed to be wiser than current civilization, so they defaced it. Now, it's not about being racist or trying to find out which race is superior. We're all one race. It's which direction makes us stronger and healthier. you know? I myself am the mix of English, Irish, French, Jamaican, Cuban, Cherokee, so I feel like a child of the earth. Any one of my friends you can find come from anywhere in the world because I have no discrimination over anybody. I don't care what your sexual preference is, how old or young you are, what your color is, what your belief systems are. I have love for you. I have a respect for the fact that you're a human being on your path towards your enlightenment. But the goal is, if we're all heading towards enlightenment, to find that truth as to where maybe the highest level of enlightenment lived on the planet. And it looks like it may have been early Egyptian times. Not later. I think there was some ego going on in the later part, but the early part. What built the massive pyramids that are 250-ton stones? Let's think about it. You got a brick this big for our civilization that we build with, and you got a brick the size of this house that the Egyptians built with. How did they do that? How did they lift it? They were more advanced than us. There's no doubt about it. So stay tuned and support the system because we're going over there to find out.